Hello and welcome. Here we are coming into being. Once again, I'm going to send out my little message here. I already got somebody popped in right before I came on, so enthusiasm, we love that. So good to see everybody, and you're welcome to say hi in the chat if you want, or you can just stay in the background as you feel more comfortable. Either way is good. And Sydney popping in on the other side. Very good. All right. So interesting times. Yeah, it's been there's been a lot of heaviness in the collective. If you have noticed any weighing down on you, that's what you're part of what you're noticing. So let's start with ourselves though before we think about going anywhere else. So take a nice deep breath in, hold it, and then just let it out. Maybe another one. Letting yourself settle in. Settle in. Notice what you're sitting on. And maybe sit up straight. Do something a little different than maybe what you do if you're on here regularly, or even if in terms of what you do in general, what you'd be inclined to do right now in this setting. So do something different. Sit a little differently for yourself. Just to change a pace. It's really good to do that, to not kind of get into an automation, to be more conscious about what we're doing. And notice what you're sitting on. And let your awareness drop down from what you're sitting on. You can imagine what you're sitting on connected to the floor, connected to the structure of the building, if you're inside a building, connected to the earth, sitting on the earth. And if you're outside, sitting on the earth, all the better. Feel yourself right there connecting to the earth. In either case, just let yourself just be present with that sense of being on the earth. Without even getting to the core of the earth. Just that surface, becoming aware of that surface. And wisdom and happy, if you don't have your feet on the floor, put them on the floor. Just to help you come down into your body and further in, since you tend to be out up, kind of mid-chest on up. Feel your feet on the floor. And everybody can do this, actually. Just put your feet on the floor and connect to the floor. If you're inside, connecting to the earth through that structure of the building. And if you're outside, just having your feet on the ground. Really feeling those feet. Maybe even wiggle your toes just to help kind of get your awareness down there. And so this is kind of popping up. So notice your feet, wiggle your toes, and noticing your feet even more. And then keep wiggling your toes. And as you keep wiggling your toes, notice where you are not in your body. And Lydia, hey, hello, Lydia. So where between your head and your feet are you not so present in your body? Notice that. It might feel like just you feel some areas of your body, and then other areas you really can't get a sense of them. That's where you're not. And hopefully it's not everything between your head and feet, but it could be. It could be a majority of that. So keep wiggling your toes, keep your awareness, your head and your awareness, your awareness on your toes. So wiggling them helps, or just, kind of moving your feet a little bit, and without moving them in place, but just kind of moving the foot up and down. And while you do that, just become more aware of where you are not in your back, in your body. Could be like the lower back, could be the pelvic seat, could be between your shoulder blades. Just being aware of that. Notice if there's any emotions that come up as you're noticing that, or you start to feel kind of, I don't know, sadness, for example, or stress, and stress, stress is an interesting one because it's not really a particular feeling, but it's sort of this tension, this agitation, and it can show up in different ways. So it can be a little buzzy in terms of how you might feel, a little on edge. So that's more kind of a physical or energetic feeling. I've been feeling lots of restlessness over the past couple days. Yeah, well, you're also kind of starting a new job, aren't you? So getting reoriented to that. And fatigue, heaviness, and then moments of high energy and lightness. Yeah, so that's good to notice that, and so coming back to that earth, that connection, feeling the earth, just that top layer of earth, I mean, that's a freaking huge ball you're sitting on, when you think about it. So that's a big, big, big sphere that we're sitting on, standing on, lying down on. If you think about how big you are relative to that, like an ant is bigger, proportionately bigger than you are in that picture. So the earth has got you. Let yourself just connect into that. Yeah. So when you're noticing like fatigue or heaviness, high energy and lightness, all of that, kind of come into that connection to that earth, to the earth level, to your feet. Pull into your body. So we've done this before, but pulling into your body, it's like you just bring your awareness, notice where your awareness is, and just kind of pull it in so you feel like you're inside this little boundary of your skin, your body. And so again, with the eyes, it kind of like if you really pull in well, you really feel like you can kind of get the sense of yourself looking out your eyes. That's what it kind of should feel like. Because and it might, for some people who are like way out of their bodies or not pulled into their bodies, it might feel like it could feel uncomfortable because you're like feels like you're just pushing in, pushing. It's like, but I am in my body. No, keep going. Pushing. It's like trying to squeeze yourself in. And And then notice once you get to that inside and you really, it's like you're looking at your skin from the inside. For example, if you close your eyes, just imagine yourself pulling in so much into your awareness, so much into your body that you're looking at the inside of your skin. And when you do that, notice where those feelings, like, so I'm taking Sydney's example here, fatigue, heaviness, or lightness of energy, lightness. Notice where that is relative to you being inside, looking at your body, looking at the inside of your side of your skin. Is it in there with you, or is it outside of that? So really hang in here to this being inside your body. So notice where you go with that, Sydney, because you're actually not staying in your body. So where are you going off to pick up on that? When we do that, that's a control thing. And that's okay. That's not necessarily a bad thing. And when you're in a new situation, you're unsure of yourself, you're unsure about what's going on, we will tend to do that and just try to figure it out. So just to make sure we're kind of where we need to be, following along with what we need to be doing, like in a new job. So come back into that sense of yourself and feel that difference. Tell me if you get a sense of that. Anybody? It's kind of more directed at Sydney, but this still applies to all of us, just maybe in different situations. Now, in Wisdom Happy, I think that'd be real good for you to work on that because, like you brought up the cat last time, Miss Ella, our little pet, coming into being pet here, kitty. What is she really responding to? Okay, so there's the frequencies, yes, but more specifically, is it simply because she's like, if you were to take yourself out of the picture and just somebody would start up coming into being and she was the only one in there without anybody else, would she be acting the same as what you described? Or is she responding to your energy, your frequency, which is in the process of kind of coming into settling in and settling down? So that's kind of the question. Probably, and it's probably could be a little bit of both. So, but there is that response to you, and then you come into a more settled place, and so she feels calmer and she feels okay. So it's a little bit of both, but okay, feeling that earth, coming into that, noticing that earth that we are all on. Even if you're flying, you're kind of like in the atmosphere of the earth. So if you're off the ground, even there, you still have that connection to the earth. Maybe not as strong, but it's still there. Feeling that earth, sitting on top of that earth, or lying down, standing on top of that earth, basically like a speck of dust on top of this sphere. When you think about that whole gravitational pull from that big, huge sphere, and you're just this little tiny speck. It's pretty amazing that we will pull ourselves out of our bodies the way we do when you look at that. It takes a lot of effort to do that. So let's switch that effort to come in the other direction, at least for now. You could go back to what you were doing before after this. Feeling that earth, settling into that earth. Yeah. And so you might be getting a sense of this because it's kind of coming through, but that sense of that surface layer that just feels like sometimes there's like so much commotion, you know, like with the hurricanes that have been hitting the United States the last, not even a week, I think, about a week. And then you go down deeper. You go past that surface layer. Keep dropping down further, yeah. And then it's like there's that layer of commotion, and then underneath is just there's that stillness, that calm, coming in more deeply, just reaching more deeply. So important with whatever is going on at the surface to come into that deeper sense. Deeper sense of that rooting, deeper sense of that connection to the earth. We're focusing on that. But just that deeper sense of anything. You know, our responses to people, there's that surface. And then what is at the deeper level? What is, you know, beyond the surface, what is really going on here? It's really good to ask ourselves that. Yeah, and just letting yourself slowly kind of go through the core of the earth. We're doing this slow grounding process, which is really good. Taking our time. Just feeling our connection to the earth more and more and more. And as we do more, going deeper. Again, resistance to going in very far. Wisdom Happy, you've got that resistance to going in. I don't know if I've said this before, but it is showing up today. You're only willing to go so far, and then you're kind of like, no. There's that part of you that's just resisting, fighting that. It's like, no, I'm not going to go any further. So ask yourself questions, guys. You know, it's not like something is going to take care of it and it's going to be going. You'll be done with it. Ask yourself questions to understand. Again, get back to that. What's happening more deeply here? Why is there that resistance to connecting? How do I really feel about kind of connecting in, getting grounded? That means coming in my body. It's like, you know, sexual abuse has come up before. I'm going to bring it up now because that's coming up now. The more you connect in, the more you go to ground into the earth. You know, we talk about grounding into the earth, which really means about being fully in our bodies. And the more we do that, the more we have to come across everything that we've got stored in our bodies. Our bodies are imprinted with every single thing that has ever happened in this lifetime without, you know, we'll stop at just this lifetime because that's a hell of a lot without going into before, but we certainly could go down that path. Adding to, if you think about every single second that you've lived is imprinted in your body. Afraid of change and not knowing. Yeah, so control, right? What did we say a minute ago? Not knowing what to say to a relative who's reaching out of the blue. That's what's coming up. So just kind of sit with it for a bit and ask yourself, you know, just take a moment to pause for connecting with yourself, connect into that deeper place of yourself, your spirit, your essence, you, all of you. and just ask yourself the question, what do I say? What do I say here? And the answer might not come right away. It'll come, but at least ask the question so that, see, this is what happens when we ask questions. Okay, wisdom, happy, I see your comment. I'll get to that in a minute. When we just sit there and there's let's just take a situation, you know, it could be anything, you know, even in terms of it's dinner time and you open the fridge, you're just standing there looking, you know, whatever. It can be that simple. You're in this situation, and if you just sit there, everything's just kind of sitting there. When you ask a question, any question, what do I do with this? Where do I go here? What direction? Anything. Energetically, what it starts to do, it's like there's the question is asked, and then there's this swirling of energy that starts to happen, and it's like it's sending that out into all existence. It's like the spiral that goes out from you into the whole of existence for that answer, for that, and then brings it back to you. But if you don't ask a question, nothing's going to happen. And so that can happen unconsciously, you know, like some deeper part of you is asking a question. You might have a sense of that, you might not, but at least start doing that more consciously to get more active. I'm heavily medicated. Curious how that's affecting me energetically. Okay, before I answer that, let me ask that to you. How do you think that it is affecting you? Okay. If you think about the question, how do you feel that being heavily medicated affects you energetically? What's your sense of that? I'm tired of the abuse with my stepmom and the more abuse from the lawyer, the federal government picking me apart and making it impossible for me to get out. Well, that's their little game thing there, isn't it? So yeah, and actually, you know, it's good to feel that tired. Okay, I want to get your answer on how for yourself. How is being heavily medicated affecting me energetically? What's your sense of that? And maybe a little bit more than it's affecting me or it's not affecting me. Then I'll get into that. Okay. And just sitting with the earth, coming back to the earth. So you feel that, so ask that question, and then connect back into the earth. You don't have to go searching for the answer. That's kind of our control thing, our human thing, wanting to know, wanting to be in charge, wanting to have everything lined up, and that's a pattern from abuse. What do I call that? It's basically PTSD, a response to abuse, stress response to abuse, to get everything lined up, everything controlled, everything neatly ordered, organized, planned. And then come back into the earth. Ask the question, come back into the earth. Heavy, lethargic, crappy, muddy. Yeah, real good. See, you know how it's affecting you. Absolutely. So it's so that's part of the trick for you in whatever everything that you do for yourself is there's that piece that just comes in. Now there are some things, you know, like the bio-oscillator, the biogenesis tools. I've got that story. I think I shared that story with you. Of the woman who that was at a workshop that I went to. The woman had some medical accident, and then she was doomed, basically stuck for life with this. And I can't remember the details, but this is just a medical accident, and it causing her nervous system to go into spasms more and more often with, so shorter amount of times between the spasms, like her whole body just spasms. There's nothing she can do. That's it. She's stuck. Medically, there's absolutely nothing they can do to change that. And I forget what it's called, but she was the first workshop that I went to. And after 2 days of working with the tools, so we were just doing little treatments on each other and just sitting in the energy of the tools. She said at the end, she said, I just want to let you know that my spasms went from being every 5 seconds. So happening every 5 seconds. You imagine that, spasming every 5 seconds. And they had gone from that often to every 15 seconds, which for her, she said, this is huge. This has made such a tremendous impact. So little things like that. So there are some things that will help you, but a lot of things are just not going to be able to do much with that. And so part of what it's demanding of you, which is hard, but it's going to make you a lot stronger if you really push yourself to that. It says, okay, this is it, but I'm going to just totally push myself to that. It's like you go into the gym and there are no 20-pound weights. There are no 50-pound weights. There's only like at least 100-pound weights. So it's like you go to the gym and you have to just do it with 100-pound weights. You have to do your best. And that's basically what situation you're in. Yep. So the tiredness. So you got to start asking yourself questions like, where do I need to be? What do I need to do for myself? How do I align with myself so that I move through this? Who do I have to be? Who do I have to become? And that's in question of alignment with yourself, with your spirit, so that I can get through this and beyond this situation. So you got to start asking yourself questions like that to start opening up the way to move out of that and faster. Because if you're just saying it's like, well, how can I find new housing? That's just gonna keep you in the same thing. It's like, who do I have to be? What do I have to become so that I am moving out of this situation faster and more easily for myself? Very different question. And so working with the medication, so you know how it makes you feel. So when you feel that heaviness and that lethargic and that crappy, muddy feeling, you push through it. You got to wait. You got 100-pound weights and where everybody else is just doing 50 pounds. So just to put in simple terms, and it will take you. It will pay off in the long run, but it's not easy at the head start. I mean, it's a lot of examples out there with people who are handicapped. There's issues. People were surfing who had their legs, one leg gone from getting bit off by a shark, and they're still back on the board. You think that was easy? Mm-mm. Same thing. It's the same kind of thing for you. Same predicament. It's like, hell no, this isn't going to stop me. You got to have that attitude. So getting tired of that is good. Maybe you just need to start asking yourself different questions. How do I move beyond this? What do I have to do to move out of this into a better situation for myself in my life so that I'm done with this? Okay, connecting into the earth, coming back to that earth. Whenever all this stuff is coming up, just coming into that earth. Connecting in. It's like I'm feeling heavy, lethargic, crappy. I don't want to connect in. Well, fuck that. I'm going to connect in. Got to have that attitude. Got to get to the place where you're saying, this is what I need to do for myself. Dan, I'm going to push through. Because if you don't, you're just going to stay there. You know, and little things that you do will maybe help you a little bit along the way, but not as fast as you want. And so you're going to have to just get to that place where you're going, you know, this is it. I'm just going to keep pushing through, and damn it, I'm just not going to let myself get stopped. Getting tired of it means you're changing, evolving. Yeah, if you get into that right place of getting pissed off and getting angry, or, you know, just getting fed up, that it can be that indication that you're right on that edge of, and you've moved into that place of seeing where you've been in that light of like, holy shit, this is like holding me back. Whereas before you were just putting up with it. And then the catch is just to kind of push past that. Otherwise, you're always kind of, you get to that place and then you get pulled down. You get to that place and get pulled back. So you have to kind of, usually you're at a place where you're just like, boom. And if you're, and using that tired and that frustration, that anger, using that to push you forward, to say enough with that. I mean, again, wisdom, happy, you know, you feel like crap and all that. And I know there's still a lot of problems, but in the short time that we've been working, I've said this to you before, and I'm going to say it again recently. It's like you've made tremendous progress. You just know how much further you have to go. You know, it's like you have a good sense of, it's like, you know, I'm not there yet, damn it. So, yeah. So connecting into the earth. Yeah, and usually I'm going to say, because it's showing up now, if you're, the times where you are feeling angry is probably the times where you're actually more grounded, because right now I can see you more kind of just connected in, anchored in, and you're pissed. So nobody likes to be pissed all the time, but maybe right now you just need to go be in that place of being pissed all the time, to use that to just keep propelling yourself forward. Coming back to the earth. I feel like stomping when I'm angry, grounding. Yeah, you can do that. As long as that keeps you moving forward, as opposed to diffusing it and then letting you kind of bringing you back to where you were before, not doing anything. And Carolina just joined in. So wisdom, happy also, yeah, with that, just feeling, being in a more grounded place, you know, being more in the body, in grounded, so in your body, connected in, makes you more angry, more pissed off, more annoyed. And pulling out of that, letting yourself sit in that longer, because it's sort of like there's a little bit of this Might not be quite New Age, but it's similar to the New Age hogwash stuff about feel good, feel happy. Because what that does when you do that is that pulls you out and you need to come in. You need to go through this because that's the only way you're going to get out, is going through it, not going through it. Coming back more into the earth again. Settling in. And letting whatever other emotion comes up to come up. There could be the anger as the top, and then there's this other stuff below. Let yourself be with whatever comes up. Yeah. There's a lot of frustration there. A lot of self-judgment also. Yeah, so that's okay. Yeah, I can feel that. I want to cry. All of the house is straight up empty. Yeah. So let yourself cry. Let it, because that's part of what's keeping you from being in your body, is you're kind of holding on. You're trying to hold it in. Coming to the realization of the amount of cognition and responsibility I have to have daily for my stepmom's demand and housing thing. How can I relax when I need to perform for both? Well, the thing about that is that it's also giving you really clear parameters, which is totally counter to it, where the abuse has put you in the first place. Abuse has put you in the place, if you remember when we started working together, of just being totally diffused. So that's why this stuff is so hard for you. You don't like it because you're coming from a place of being completely diffused out there, and then you've got something that's getting really strict about boundaries and limitations. Use that. Hate going to school, but use that to okay, I'm going to use this situation to really work on those boundaries, to work on that definition, to go through this. Do whatever I'm empowered to make sleep happen. So how can I come undone when I have to stay cognitive? Well, that's exactly. You actually don't want to come undone. You want to come done. You want to do the reverse because you've been totally come undone with the abuse, that this is forcing you to come in together. This is the resistance. This is part of why it's so hard for you and why you don't like to have that. So stay cognitively together. That's a really good exercise for you. It's forcing you to hold it together for yourself. Use that. Use that for yourself to learn, to grow, to strengthen for yourself. I've been feeling like I need to have a breakdown, but whatever I do, can't get it out of me. Yeah, well, don't force it. That's a control thing. It's like, I'm going to have that breakdown. Damn it, come on. It'll come on its own. And that part of you is just like, okay, are you gonna let me do this on my own or what? Or are you gonna make me do it? Does that sound familiar to you? From somewhere else? Hey, let's take a deep breath in. Scheduled breakdowns. Yes. Well, yes. You got to let it unwind. Put it in the calendar. Exactly. Good humor there. Yeah, you've been wisdom happy. It's good laughing on that one. So, yeah. So connecting into the earth, coming back into that earth. See, see, like for you, Sydney, it's like one of the things that if you look at how the abuse, part of the abuse that happened for you, how it happened was kind of in that scheduled way, that organized, structured way. And so here you are, you have it, there's this part of you that just wants to have a meltdown. And you're trying to get, okay, so you're going back in the same way that the abuse came in. If that makes sense, yeah. All right, deep breath in. Hold it at the top and then just let everything go. Let it all out. It's good. It's good to bring up all that stuff, to express it, to acknowledge it. Now just let it all out and come into that place of maybe feeling weak, maybe feeling unable, helpless. Let yourself come into that. Not liking whatever's coming up for you, you know, whether it's that trying to have that breakdown and it's not happening, or having to deal with a situation that's forcing you to be more present than you want to be. Surrendering to that. Surrendering to that being where you would rather not be, because you'd rather be somewhere else. Yeah. And it's okay to be in that place of rather being somewhere else. I think just about everybody on the planet, in some shape or form, is in that place. For in some part of their lives, in some ways, I'd rather be XYZ somewhere else. But first, we got to come into what's right here, right now. And maybe feeling shitty is the only place we are right here, right now. So being okay with that, giving yourself this moment to just like, all right, not much you can do with this in just this moment here together on here. Feeling that frustration, feeling that whatever is coming up. Yeah, good realization, Sydney. It's good to see that. No wonder it's not happening, right? When you look at that, it's like, oh, so that other part of you is going, no, don't just no. They say, have a breakdown, come on, meltdown. It's like, no, right? kind of funny when you think about it that way, but yeah. So relaxing into that. Yeah. Just for a moment, just to stop the fighting against something. Just letting that something be there, letting yourself be with that something. Yep, I am feeling you were about to say that. So glad you were hanging out here for this long. So we're almost done anyway. So good for you. Good for you for stopping by. And just put the fight aside. Just let everything be as it is. Oh. Yeah. We certainly always want to feel better, right? Feel like we're doing good and doing happy in another place, but we can't always do that. We can't always have that. And so letting ourselves just have that release in that moment, that frustration, surrendering, allowing that to express, to come out in whatever way it needs to come out. And one question to consider, regardless of your situation, it's like, at some level, this might not make sense, but just gotta let it sit in the back there. Questions like, well, I got myself here, so I must be able to figure out how to get out of it for myself. I got myself here, then I can figure out how to get out of it. You might not figure it out right now in this moment, but just becoming aware of that, just planting that seed in your head. It's like asking the question. When you plant that seed in your head, it's like, I got myself here, then I must be able to get myself out of here. Again, that swirl, that cycling of energy that's going out into everywhere to pull back in that information for you to shift into something else for yourself. I had a college professor once say that often the solution can be found in the question. Yeah, that's kind of an intellectual way of looking at that. But yeah, that connects right in, doesn't it? Can be found through the asking of the question. And if we don't ask the question, it's like, it just kind of sits there. It sits there. It's like the whole universe, it's sitting there waiting for you. It's like, okay, is there anything you want to ask? And there's a million different questions that could be asked. Maybe not a million, but there are certainly a lot of different questions that can be asked in those moments, and they will just pull in different directions. Okay, just going to pop in my value donation code up there. So good session, a little heavy today, but good work. Yeah, and right now, it's like bringing up this situation with Wisdom Happy, and just this frustration where she's at. Sydney a little bit, not so intense, but also just that a little similarity there of just like, you got this thing, you want it, you kind of feel like you're banging your head against it. And you're just letting yourself surrender. And for this moment, not pushing against, not trying to figure out, not trying to make it different, just like, there it is. Here I am. Breathing into that. Just being with it. Just letting yourself be with yourself in that, just being present with what is. Frustrating, upset, wanting to cry, wanting to just like break all the windows, break through all the floors, stomping around, whatever. And just coming into yourself more. Literally, it's actually very grounding to do that. Because all that fighting, all that trying to make it different, trying to do something different, trying to have it be something else, it's like we're kind of like going like this to the situation is here, and we're like, and then you just let yourself come down, come in. Not always fun, but it will take you further, it will take you deeper, it will help you find better solutions for yourself instead of finding solutions that just kind of keep repeating the same thing over and over and over. That broken record, that wheel that's stuck in the mud. Okay, well, good work, guys. Very good. So, value donation if you'd like to make a little contribution for valuing yourself, valuing the work, valuing what you get out of being here for yourself. So it's like when you value yourself and you value what you receive, those things go hand in hand, reflection of one and the other. Lydia, I was wondering about you the other day. I was wondering how that job thing is going for you, because I know that's coming up this month, getting organized. So, and everybody, yeah, there's kind of new on the horizon in some shape or form. So, all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. We'll be here next Wednesday as always. So take a deep breath in, one last deep breath in, hold it at the top, and then just let it all out. Let yourself relax in, just surrendering, letting go, not trying to have it be anything other than what it is, whether you like it or not. That's just the way it goes sometimes.